There is a place within the depths of hell, Dante begins, called MALEBOLGE. This is the massive eighth circle, 1/3 of the entire Inferno. Here are the pimps, seducers, panderers, flatterers, simoniacs, those who abuse their power within the church, sorcerers, barrators, corrupt politicians, hypocrites, thieves, sowers of discord, and falsifiers. The MALEBOLGE is composed of 10 concentric ditches, linked by a number of bridges. Each ditch, or evil pocket, is lower and tighter than the previous, reflecting the severity of misdemeanour. The upper ditches contain those whose fraudulent acts were perpetrated against strangers, people they did not know. There is a place, we shall see, much lower down in Circle 9, where the betrayers of family, guests, and countrymen are trapped. Virgil summons Geryon, the winged monster, to transport them to these dark regions, for there is no other way. Only Geryon can grant them passage, but for this they must pay a great price. Geryon flies up to meet them, and Dante sees at once how complex a creature he is, with his mild, honest face and his glittering rainbow colours, as Luke tells it, which promise all kinds of marvellous results. But his reptilian hide, hairy claws, and scorpion's poisonous tail make him the perfect image of unclean fraud. We are moving now totally beyond the incontinence of the upper regions, and even from the unconscious and mindless violence of the seventh circle. Here we come face to face with those souls who in life acted out of conscious wickedness and malice, malazia, as it is said in Italian. Yet only when we admit our own deceits, says Luke, will this evil monster assist us to look upon the roots of evil within the collective psyche, and to pass beyond to the light of day. For these dishonesties must be sought out and looked upon consciously, she continues, lest they insidiously permeate our motives. Who among us, she says, has not been tempted to manipulate the psyche of another, or to abuse some trust, or to parade some unearned merit? How often do we steal energy from another, breaking into the house of their personality, invading privacy, or secretly welcoming fraud by silence or pleasure in another's sin? On the back of that foul creature, then, held fast in Virgil's arms, Dante descends into the pit. No greater fear, methinks, did any feel, he tells us, than I felt, finding myself in the void falling, with nothing but the air all around, nothing to show, no light, no sight, but the sight of the beast appalling. The first bolgia contains the souls of the panderers and seducers, the modern-day pimps, those who enslave and objectify others, reducing them to mere commodities. But all here is inverted, so that now they themselves are entrapped, commodified, and stripped of all previous freedoms. Souls here are lashed by demons, and Dante sees a Bolognese man who in life pimped his sister, the beautiful Gisolabella, for political gain. So much they must endure to see, so much inflicted pain. Yet those who are here, the perpetrators, have no insight whatsoever into their crimes, nor do they take the slightest responsibility. And this is the great tragedy of the Inferno, as we repeatedly see. There is no time, of course, to discuss every foul ditch in detail, but suffice to say, as our poets descend, they witness, step by step, canto by canto, the complete uncoupling of souls from all that is good, true, and beautiful. Flatterers in Bolge too are immersed in dung. They're simoniacs, those who have abused power in the church, the likes of which we see before us up to the present day, are in Bolge 3, turned upside down in large baptismal fonts with their feet eternally set alight. The false soothsayers in Bolge 4, who prayed and profited from the vulnerable in times of despair, are now forced to walk backwards, forever prohibited from peering into the future. The corrupt politicians, the barrators in Bolge 5, are plunged into boiling pitch and tormented by the malebranche, the evil-clawed demons who taunt and tower over them and poke them back into the pitch with long forks. Dante is morbidly fascinated by this terrible punishment, for he too had been accused of corruption, of accepting bribes whilst a magistrate in the city, an accusation that had led to his exile, and he asked Virgil if he might speak with one sinner who has emerged from the pitch seeking to cool himself. His name is Ciampollo, and he tells Dante other Italians are here, and he will fetch them to speak if the demons will allow it. They agree, but then Ciampollo jumps back into the pitch to escape the demons, who are slashing at him with their weapons. They try to capture him but fail. Then they become angry and they begin to argue, blaming each other for allowing the captive to speak. A fight ensues, and two of them fall into the pitch. And whilst they are thus distracted, our poets slip away. But they are soon spotted and chased. Virgil grabs Dante, and they slither quickly down the rocks to the next Bolge, whilst the demons howl at them from the ridge above. But they cannot follow, so for the moment the poets are safe. Well, next they meet the hypocrites, who in life concealed their dark agendas beneath holy and virtuous appearances. Here they are clothed in glittering golden cloaks, weighed down on the inside by heavy leaden linings, a perfect reflection of their tragic lives, externally pure, internally, spiritually unclean. Next come the thieves in Bolge 7, with their hands tied behind their backs, hideously morphing in and out of human form. Dante and Virgil witness horrific scenes as they approach. Masses of writhing snakes trap and coil themselves around the sinners, biting their flesh and injecting their poison with venomous fangs. It is a poison that causes the sinners to burst into flames, in which they are utterly extinguished and reduced to ash. Moments later, the soul is reconstituted and the same distressing cycle recurs. One of these souls is Vanni Fucci, whom Dante recognizes. He tells Dante he stole holy relics from his cathedral, and he is ashamed to be discovered here, and he curses Dante and all those he supports in Florence, and he curses God too, before being set upon again by another vicious viper. Further on, the poets witness even more ungodly scenes of men being clasped by dark reptilian creatures who somehow fix upon their bodies and steal their very essence, and the two then morph into obscene hybrid creatures. So do thieves on the earth suck the very life force from their victims. They do not know, says Dorothy Sayers, the fundamental difference between what's mine and what's yours. We are invaded by such people at a core level, within our own sacred space, our own inner sanctum, where no one should venture without our invitation. And so our poets go on and arrive in Bolge 8. And as they approach, Dante speaks to us of his sadness, for everywhere, it seems, he encounters souls from his own beloved city of Florence, the Fiorentini. "O Florence," he cries out in despair, "your name extends through every part of hell." Set adrift from the core morality upon which it was founded, the city is now like a great bird of prey, he tells us, that casts its despicable shadow over the entire world. Per mare e per terra, Dante cries, over both sea and land. And he warns us, all the way down through the ages, of the perilous consequences for any society that allows itself to stray from the light in this way. The poets then come down to the Bolge reserved for fraudulent counsellors. Virgil explains that souls here burn with every word they speak, because in life they had been so deceitful. He points out Ulysses and Diomedes, the two Greek kings who led the fight against Troy, and eventually won through the deception of the Trojan horse, events described in Virgil's Aeneid. They stole the statue of Athena and placed her sacred sign on the Trojan horse to trick the Trojans into a false sense of security. Now they are trapped together as twin tongues of a flame, each blaming the other for their predicament. Can they speak from within the flame? Dante asks. If they can, I would like to know their story. And Ulysses comes forth then and tells the tale of his journey home after the war, of tricking his own men, of leading them to their deaths instead of back to their families, and of abandoning and betraying his own kin in favour of more and more adventure. And saying so, he merges back into the flames, and our poets pass on, arriving soon after at the last of the evil pouches. Here are housed the sowers of discord, the planters of seeds of doubt amongst their fellows, nurturers of scandals, now the damned harvesters of eternal sorrow and tormented by dark demons. Next are the falsifiers, the forgers of coin, manipulators of words, and impersonators of trusted others, now plagued by thirst and fever. This last ditch, Bolge 10, reeks with the stench of rotting flesh, for here the souls are tormented from within as well as from without, and many of the bodies are covered in weeping wounds and scabs that they pick and scratch incessantly. The poets then witness a tirade of abusive exchange between two of these falsifiers, who in life were locked in bitter enmity. And, as we have come to expect here, they are blaming each other, shouting that the crimes of one were more heinous than the other. And Dante is drawn in, and he begins to enjoy it. And Virgil looks at him aghast. "Now," he says, "keep gazing much longer, and I will quarrel with you," he cautions. "The desire to hear it is a vulgar desire." It is a timely reminder to all of us about the perils of staring into the face of evil overlong. However advanced we might feel ourselves to be, we are never too advanced to fall. Dante is full of shame at his master's reproof, and Virgil himself, we are told, feels guilty on account of his harsh words, and he forgives Dante straight away. Now, some of the commentators suggest that these simple acts of contrition and forgiveness are in fact pivotal in the poet's eventual emergence from these depths. For these feelings of love, of light and forgiveness, amidst the deep darkness of the MALEBOLGE, bring about a redemption of sorts that guarantees their swift ascension from this place. But first, the final descent.